Terra Cotta Warriors, Guardians of the Afterlife, a project by Audrey Farrell. About 2,219 years ago, in 210 BC, Emperor Qin Shi Huangdi was buried along with over 7,500 life-size terracotta warriors. They were made so that the emperor could have an army to protect him and to help him create a whole new empire in the afterlife. Each soldier had a special feature, unlike any other. Each one had a job. There were 8,000 soldiers, 100 chariots with 400 horses, and 300 cavalry horses. This means there are about 8,800 figures or chariots in the first of 4 burial pits in Emperor Qin's mausoleum. The soldiers were once lively painted with bright reds and yellows, all painted by hand. The soldiers' uniforms were once painted bright red, one of the main colors of China. The army has been in the underground pits for thousands of years and the paint is mostly worn off, but traces of the army's true colors still show. Emperor Qin hired artists to add fine details to the soldiers with clay and paint. Each soldier was made to be different. Today, only a handful of statues contain small amounts of paint. The detail put into the soles of the warriors' shoes were spectacular. The workers had to make sure every single detail was perfect. The army wasn't all made completely by hand. Workers used separate molds for the arms, legs, heads, and torsos, and then put them together in a big assembly line. After that, the laborers and local craftsmen finished all the final details with clay. Each soldier wore a traditional war uniform. The figures vary in height, according to their role, the tallest being the generals. The figures include strong warriors, chariots, horses, officials, acrobats, strongmen, and musicians. The majority of the figures are still buried in the pits. The emperor started building his tomb when he was 13. There were over 700,000 workers making the mausoleum of Qin Shi Huangdi. Pit 1 has 11 corridors, most of which are over 3 meters wide and paved with small bricks and a wooden ceiling supported by large beams and posts. This design was also used for the tombs of noblemen and would have resembled palace hallways. The wooden ceilings were covered with reed mats and layers of clay for waterproofing, then mounded with more soil, making them, when built, about 2 to 3 meters higher than ground level. Pit 2 has cavalry and infantry units as well as war chariots, and is thought to represent a military guard. Pit 3 is the command post, with high-ranking officers in a war chariot. Pit 4 is empty, seemingly left unfinished by its builders. The terracotta figures are lifelike and life-sized. They vary in height, uniform, and hairstyle according with rank. The colored lacquer finish, individual facial features, and actual weapons and armor from battle used in manufacturing these figures create a realistic appearance. The original weapons were stolen by robbers shortly after the creation of the army, and where the coloring has faded greatly. However, their existence serves as a testament to the amount of labor and skill involved in their construction. It also reveals the power of the first emperor possessed, enabling him to command such a monumental undertaking as this. The warriors came out one by one, or even in pieces. It's been 30 years, and archaeologists are still digging out piece by piece. This is the ultimate jigsaw puzzle.